Good morning, I'm Wendy Burke and this is the CBC Morning Report for Monday, October 11th. In our top story, waste management is being seen as a tremendous opportunity for Barbados to get in on, coming out of UNCTAD 15. Sandra Husbands, Minister in the Ministry of Foreign Trade, says Barbados must look to establish and identify niche areas where we can excel. She was a guest on last night's CBC TV8 current affairs program, The People's Business.
It is projected that with the advent of the world seeking to change its production processes to be more environmentally friendly and climate friendly and being resilient, that it is going to give birth to a number of industries that will generate trillions of dollars, which will take the world forward and the world economies cause it to spring forward in a significant way. The question is, can Barbados participate in the new industries that will look at producing certain products in a different way so that they're more environmentally friendly, of being able to come up with solving problems? And this is where your university students, your medical, your biochemists and so on, those who are studying physics, it is important now to get them into innovating and looking at how are we going to repurpose, retool, reposition, change how we produce a number of things so that we are environmentally friendly in how we do what we do.
Ms. Husbands also stressed that Barbados must develop a trade policy that guards against being bogged down with old assets from other countries, and one that also allows for the development of new solutions for manufacturing.
Within short order, you're going to find that whether it's the WTO or whichever international agency that has responsibility for environment, etc., that they may say that trade cannot take place if you are using old technology, or they may put a tax on you, like how Europe is considering to put a carbon tax. So if you use methods that are not environmentally friendly, your products all of a sudden will become uncompetitive in that market.
Okay.
So it is important, two things, that we don't get dumped with assets that cannot help us in the long term, and that very quickly we make that connection between our education system, our manufacturing and business systems, and get our young people now solving problems and innovating and bringing forth new solutions that we can look at whether we are able to produce it, or whether we sell the intellectual property, or whether we do joint ventures, or whether we ourselves do a little FDI in Africa to be able to produce that particular product.
Okay.
These are the things that we have to look out for, and this is the direction that our trade policy will take us in.
On board with developing that type of trade policy is Barbados' ambassador to the United Nations and the World Trade Organization, His Excellency Chad Blackman. He says the time is now for our researchers and developers to find new ways of surviving in a world where global demands are shifting.
Getting our people to think, getting our institutions to hit the ground running now, within the next 3, 4, 5 months, year, possibly, having dedicated focus sessions on looking to see what are the global demands for sustainability in terms of goods, for example. Just one example. What competitive advantage do we have? What resources do we need? How do we get our young persons coming out of UE, Polytechnic, sixth form, being able to now reimagine and putting these things in place, getting our financiers together with them to get these things to market, not just for Barbados, but to export. So tangibles, that would be one that I would really like to see pushed through.
Also on the People's Business was Carlos Wharton, the Deputy National Coordinator for UNCTAD 15. He made a case for Barbados receiving assistance towards meeting sustainable development goals.
Smaller and developing states, there's a significant import bias, and the importation of goods, industrial goods that depend on fossil fuels, will eventually come under stricter policies, and therefore the help from the UNCTAD Secretariat in ensuring that we make a smooth transition from a fossil fuel dependent economy to economy that is fully being operated or run off of renewable energy is significant work that we can't pay for ourselves, quite frankly.
Next on CBC Morning Report, updates on the COVID-19 pandemic. Barbados has recorded another 251 new positive COVID-19 cases. This is according to the Vestal Santos Public Health Laboratory after conducting 2,249 tests on October 9th. The new cases included 111 males and 140 females. The new positives consist of 69 people under the age of 18. There are now 579 people in isolation facilities and 1,947 in home isolation. Meanwhile, public health officials have administered 141,820 first doses of the COVID-19 vaccines. A total of 111,734 people have received second doses and are fully vaccinated. This number represents 41.2% of the total population or 48.9% of the eligible population. The eligible population comprises people who are 12 years and older. The Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association has joined the debate on mandatory vaccination in the workplace. The BHTA has called for such a policy to be adopted immediately. CBC's Ron Brathwaite reports.
The BHTA wants government to make it mandatory for all employees in the hospitality and tourism industry to be vaccinated. Noting that the industry is deemed high risk, the association says the health and safety of employees, guests, all affiliated with the industry, and the Barbadian people remain its primary concern. The BHTA says any continued delay in government in implementing this policy will result in increased cancellations as guests are now requiring to interact with staff who are vaccinated. According to the BHTA, a number of cruise lines have also canceled cruise calls to Barbados, and more are expected to do so. The association warns that unless immediate action is taken, there will be a collapse of the tourism sector, a sector that employs directly approximately 16,000 people and many thousands more in supporting services. It also laments that government's efforts through providing free testing, vaccination and rehabilitative care, coupled with consultations and communications to improve the vaccination rates, have not resulted in the anticipated significant increases in the number of people taking the vaccines. The BHT is also encouraging workers' representatives of labor unions to support its call for mandatory vaccinations. Ron Brathwaite, CBC News.
Time for a preview of what's coming up on Morning Barbados. And for that, we say good morning to Pearson M. Roy Bowen.
Who?
M. Roy.
Okay, M. Roy. Thank you. Different name for sure. Well, good morning to Wendy Ursula Burke. I love that name for you, don't you love it? Ursula Burke for you today. You can hear the growling in her voice indeed. Coming at you, girl. Well, folks, when you join me here at 6:30 right here on Morning Barbados today, we'll take a look at road safety as we continue all month long with these two road safety experts looking at how we can make our roads safer, how we can use what technologies are already available to spot when infractions occur, and what are some of the possible penalties so that we begin to reduce the urge to break the law. Also, Ambassador David Commichon will join us. We'll continue our review of UNCTAD 15. Plus, we'll look at what that report that was submitted to CARICOM to assist Haiti tells us, and what is the plan going forward to assist Haiti through it all. And tomorrow will be the launch of the inaugural International Day for Reparations. One of the non-governmental actors in the society will join us to talk a little bit more about that. Just a little bit of what you can join me for at 6:30 when you come around for Morning Barbados. Ursil, it's back to you.
Well, thank you, Emerald. We'll see you at the bottom of the hour. We'll take another break and return with more news. Venezuela.
Well, as the charge of affairs of Barbados and Venezuela, I am equivalent to the head to the ambassadorships for other missions. I'm the head of mission here, and my role is to first look after Barbados' interests in Venezuela, and that's by protecting or being there for the diaspora, and entering into discussions on how we will strengthen relations, etc., and also ensuring that when Barbados has a position on Venezuela, the government of Barbados is fully informed objectively as to the situation here, so that they can make informed decisions on how we proceed and how we work on our relationship.
I'm glad you mentioned the word objectively, because all we've been hearing coming out through the media recently is that Venezuela is in a state of disarray. There's poverty everywhere. People are starving. Is that the real picture on the ground?
There's poverty in Venezuela, yes. That's not a joke, but there's poverty everywhere else in the world. Venezuela's situation is exacerbated by the imposition of sanctions, which do not only affect the political class, but also affect the people of the country. For example, where one would be able to send money from other parts of the world, they don't have Western Union, etc., because of the sanctions. And so the inability for families to send money back to their own families here creates a significant problem for the Venezuelans, as well as issues where correspondent banks are willing to do transfers to Venezuela, etc. It affects the people. Now, the politics aside, when we look at the people, we must understand that, when Venezuela cries out about the sanctions, it's not only not having access to money to do government business, but it's also having access to money for the normal man to live. So there is poverty. It's at an elevated level. I've seen some figures which I may question. But I can also say to you that Venezuelans, there are many Venezuelans who are living well. I was speaking to my nephew recently, and he said to me that he heard there was no food in Venezuela. I got to say, no, that's not the problem in Venezuela. There's food, and there's a lot of food. There's a lot of food in the supermarkets. There's a lot of food. There's medicine in the pharmacies. It's not true that there's no medicine in the pharmacies. The problem is that some people just can't afford it. Can we say that about every country in the world? Yes. And so there's no, what's happening in Venezuela is not uncommon in countries. But as I said, it is magnified, is amplified by the fact that some people who in the past may have had access to the resources no longer have access to the financial resources to do what they need to do. Added to that is the fight or the struggle of hyperinflation, where the Venezuelan bolivar it sees a nosedive like crazy. There's thousands of percentages of the value of inflation, which causes problems. So what we've had in Venezuela is this unofficial dollarization in the economy, where people prefer to use the US dollar, not because Venezuelans or the government of Venezuela wants to use the US dollar. However, it's the most stable currency to use at this time. Just recently, on the 1st of October, the Venezuelan government removed 6 zeros from their bolivar, and they've gone to the bolivar digital now in an attempt to arrest the situation. So there are moves, there are things in place, or they're putting things in place to try to arrest the situation. But as I said, with the sanctions in place and the political situation in the country, which we are seeing glimmers of hope at this point in time, it's becoming extremely difficult for some.
Okay, what in terms of the relationship between Barbados and Venezuela, what do we stand to gain from each other now, given the current political position?
Well, Barbados and Venezuela, just recently we celebrated 52 years of diplomatic relations. Venezuela was the first South American country which recognized Barbados or established diplomatic relations with Barbados just 3 years out of after we became independent in 1969. Since then, we have had, the relationship has been in the international business sector. We have a number of companies in Venezuela which are registered in Barbados. One of those companies is a major producer of processed food products like hot dogs and bacon, etc., called Plum Rose, and a number of other companies that are registered in Barbados that we continue, or legal fraternity continue to manage from Barbados. Over the years, Venezuela assisted Barbados in the medical area, and I know there's been talk and reports about the collapse of the medical system. Yes, there are challenges, but I must say to you, the private medical system in Venezuela is still up and running, and there's still excellent doctors here. You still get excellent care, etc. But of course, as in any other country, you have to pay for it. So we've had situations where we've sent Barbadians here for medical treatment in the past. And so, that's an area that we can continue to explore. The issue of trade and food imports, Venezuela presents for Barbados an opportunity to cut down on its food bill. The Venezuela government has implemented strategies to get the agricultural industry back on track. It's had some challenges over the years, and that's a place that we can look to if we're talking about investing food imports, or we can also look to invest in that. And I say invest in that because the Venezuelan government has introduced a piece of legislation last year called the anti-blockade legislation. And the idea of that, if you read into the document, is really like a type of privatization policy where the government has allowed more and more private businesses in the country, moving away from their past policy where the government control most of the businesses. So there's an opportunity for investment outside of the government and to be able to move around the sanctions, where Barbadian companies can, Barbadian investment individuals can find ways and means to make good money in Venezuela.
Okay.
There's also the issue. there's also the issue of the rum industry. This is something that I want to bring up. Venezuela is known for its rum, but we are known for our rum too. And one of my aims over the last 2 years was to try to get Barbadian rum on the Venezuelan market. It's something I continue to work on. We've had some challenges because of COVID-19 in that the ability to interact the way we would want to have not been there, because most of the focus here and in Barbados has been on controlling the pandemic. I think though we are at a stage now where we can move forward with these issues. There are also some investors in Venezuela who are very interested in onshore oil exploration in Barbados. That's another issue that I took to Barbados last year. And there's a Barbadian here who is a neurosurgeon who wants to move an air ambulance service to Barbados. This is important for us in Barbados because normally we have to go outside of the country to seek air ambulances to assist Barbadians who need to fly to different parts, Miami, Colombia, etc., for medical treatment. And here in Venezuela, we have a Barbadian who wants to move his operation to Barbados, and as a neurosurgeon, he wants to give back to Barbados as well. Well, he has many years in the medical transport field. So those are a few. The other issue is
very
education.
Interesting areas, yes, Commander Clark. Sorry to have to cut us short this morning, but I'm happy to see the work you're doing here. Let's hope we reap some success where the rum especially is concerned. I want to thank you for joining us live on Morning Report this morning, and I wish you all the best in your efforts to cement those trade relations. That was Commander Aquinas Clark, Chargé d'Affaires in Venezuela for Barbados. Prime Minister Mia Motley has been described as a pioneer in strengthening the links between Africa and the Caribbean. Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta says the seeds have been sown for genuine prosperity to be achieved by the people of the region. President Kenyatta was speaking at the Grantley Adams International Airport as he prepared to leave Barbados following his attendance at UNCTAD 15.
I feel very excited about the prospects that exist for really strengthening and rebuilding the relationship between the African continent and her diaspora. And all I can say is that the opportunities, especially after listening to members of my delegation who have engaged with various potential partners here in Barbados, the opportunity for really re-strengthening, rebuilding our relationship is great.
A Kenyan leader also says that out of UNCTAD 15, bonds have been forged that will give them a stronger voice in the international community.
I see a bright future. I look forward once again to coming back. I also look forward to being the first African president to receive officially on a state visit a president from Barbados, and I look forward to continue working with my sister Mia to strengthen those bonds and to see the coming together of our regions become the reality that our forefathers dreamt of.
Prime Minister Motley added UNCTAD provided an excellent opportunity to deepen their relationship.
You're not going to see things happen all at once. At the same time, while we do those substantive areas for trade and investment, we're also continuing to work together in solidarity on key issues internationally, whether it is on debt, whether it is on climate, whether it is on Haiti, whether it is on other areas of instability across the world. Regrettably, the world in which we live today is highly unstable, and therefore we need the solidarity and the coalition of the willing more often than not to push things forward.
The number of Haitians attempting to gain entry into the United States is increasing significantly. Thousands of Haitian immigrants are leaving Chile after being faced with discrimination and stricter visa rules.
These men and women make up part of the largest Haitian expat community in Latin America. After their country's 2010 earthquake, Chile opened its doors to tens of thousands of Haitians. But today, even as thousands of undocumented Venezuelans, Colombians, and Peruvians are flocking to Chile, huge numbers of Haitians are actually leaving. On the U.S.-Mexico border, hundreds of Haitians have discarded their Chilean ID cards as they risk their lives trying to reach U.S. shores. The question is, why would they leave Chile, the country with the highest per capita income in the region?
The treatment that Haitians receive here from Chile's current president is indecent. That's why they decide to journey to El Dorado, even if they die on the way, because they are sure they will be treated better.
The death of a young Haitian mother shook the community to the core. 2 years ago, 27-year-old Joan Florville, who did not speak Spanish, was arrested and later taken from the police station to the hospital in a coma. Her sister says that Florville had been accused of abandoning her 2-month-old baby at a municipal office, when in fact she had only left her in her stroller with a guard for a few minutes, while she tried to find someone to translate for her. Samantha agreed to speak to us for the first time about what her sister told her before she died a month later, including charges that she was badly beaten by police.
That's why she cried so much. She told me the police and others treat Haitians badly here. She said they treat Haitians like dogs. But actually that's not true, because here they treat dogs quite well.
Samantha nevertheless wants to remain in Chile to be near her deceased sister's child, who lives with her father. She adds that not all Chileans are bad, such as Roxana, her brother's girlfriend. But racism and discrimination of Haitians are widespread.
In Chile, many associate Haitians with compassion. They are seen as people who are socially degraded, defenseless, inferior in some ways. But racism isn't exclusively about the color of one's skin. Discrimination is based on class. It's poverty that makes a difference.
At a migrant assistance center in Santiago, we meet another Haitian migrant who asked not to be identified for fear of reprisals. She says the main problem isn't racism, it's the government's refusal to issue or renew working documents for most Haitians.
If you want to work, you have to have an ID card, and to have an ID card, you need to work. So if you can't get papers, how can you work? You can't live decently. That's why the majority of my friends have left the country. I have no friends left.
Approximately 90% of Haitians in Chile don't have valid residency papers, which makes them open to rampant abuse from landlords and unscrupulous employers, and ineligible for social services. Chile's current government has become more hostile towards undocumented migrants, especially those who, for example, are working in the informal sector. Critics say that it has done little or nothing to promote social inclusion, nor to crack down on illegal exploitation of Haitians, all of which is keeping them at the bottom of the social and economic ladder in this country. And until that changes, the majority of Haitians who came here thinking they had reached the promised land will continue to live in squalor and suffer discrimination.
Dwayne Bravo and Chennai Super Kings are into the Indian Premier League final after defeating Shimron Hetmar and the Delhi Capitals by 4 wickets in their first qualifier in Dubai yesterday. Capitals batted first and made 172 for 5. Prifta Shaw top scored with 60 with 7 fours and 3 sixes, while Hetmar added 37 with 3 fours and a 6. Bravo took 1 for 31. CSK replied with 173 for 6 off 19.4 overs. Player of the match, Ruturaj Gikwad top scored with 70. That included 5 fours and 2 sixes. The Capitals do get a second chance to make the final when they take on the winner of today's eliminator in the second qualifier on Wednesday. The second eliminator is between Royal Challengers Bangalore and Sunil Narayan's Kolkata Knight Riders. Time now for a look at our weather picture. In Barbados right now, it's cloudy and slightly hazy at 27.5 degrees Celsius, but it feels like 34. The humidity stands at 79% and the barometric pressure is 1011.6 millibars. The winds from the east at 30 kilometers per hour. The tides, low tide will be at 12:43 p.m. and high tide at 7:39 a.m. A second high tide will be at 7:13 p.m. The seas are moderate in open water with swells ranging from 1.5 to 2 meters and steady. Today will be a mix of sunshine and clouds with a few brief scattered light to moderate showers and a very slight chance of isolated thunderstorms. It will be mostly cloudy to overcast tonight with the occasional intermittent scattered moderate to heavy showers and a very slight chance of scattered thunderstorms. Over in the Lesser Antilles, today and tonight, cloudy to overcast with occasional moderate to heavy scattered showers, periods of light to moderate rain and isolated thunderstorms. Here's now a look at the international cities. That was today's morning report. Our next newscast will be at noon Newsday. We now join Pearson M. Roy Bowen for Morning Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Monday, the 11th of October, 2021. I am Pearson M. Roy Bowen. Thanks to Wendy Ursil Burke for holding it down for the morning report. And we do look forward to spending the rest of the morning with you, everyone. Don't forget, starting today, we're asking you to spot the pink ribbon. Yep, you have to keep watching. You gotta keep watching. Have your pen and paper handy because I don't even know myself when that ribbon is gonna pop up. When it does, I want you to identify the landmark, that location. Note it down for today. Hold that piece of paper, and every single day until Friday, on that same piece of paper, you will note each landmark. Okay? We got that clear? Then at the end of the week, you will send all of your landmarks day by day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, to us by email at morningbarbados@cbc.bb. So starting today and every day this week, you got to keep watching. You just don't know when it's going to pop up, and when it does, identify the landmark. Also coming up today marks the 7th anniversary of the International Day of the Girl Child. And so we'll be taking a look at that with the organization I Am a Girl Barbados. And they're going to be looking at digital generation, our generation. That's the theme for today. And we'll be talking to them a little bit more about that. We'll also be introducing you to the hosts of a new show starting on CBC TV. It's going to be about entertainment. It's going to be entertaining as well, so look forward to that. And we'll meet a lady who's written a book about herself, a book that we hope you find equally inspiring, her journey told through the pages. So that's straight ahead. Let's get going this morning though by taking a look at road safety. All month long, the Stud road safety experts will be joining us as we look at road safety, the things we're doing and the things we ought not to do. And joining us this morning is Junior Jordan, consultant driver trainer, and Leon Blades, I was going to say inspector, retired inspector traffic cop indeed. Good morning, both of you. Thank you so much again for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to Leon and to viewers and listeners. A pink-colored morning to Pearson McRoy Bowen. I
thought it was Roy, you know, McRoy.
Roy. That's all right. All right, Michael Jackson. No problem, Michael Jackson. I remember, yes. Let's look at road safety now. There are lots of things that are happening. We actually, on the weekend, saw on social media an image that caused a lot of us pause. At first, when I saw it, I thought, this has to be a joke, right? This must have been somebody playing the fool, right? We identified the location. What do you think of this, Junior?
This is disgusting to the maximum. And I want to say that the person who is doing that traveling really ought to be ashamed of themselves. But more importantly, if one of those tie-downs had come loose or had come off, that would be a catastrophe in the waiting. And I want to suggest very early that things like that, we need, cameras in this country. But before I get to that, I want to follow on from something you asked last week, Pearson, in terms of after all of this time, why are we still here begging and pleading for people to, to obey the laws? And I want to say this. In this country, we need for a long time to have the demerit point system in full operation, with the use of cameras at strategic locations where the police's work will be made easier, but you can use that for prosecution with due process, of course. In London alone, I've said this before, there are over 5,000 cameras in London. And I think we need to move to that stage of technology where we can reduce things like what we saw and other things as well. So we really want to understand the importance of setting a standard and getting it right.
Leon Blaze, you have for long been monitoring road traffic and road safety as well. What can you describe the changes you've noticed over the years, and what is it we're getting right or we're getting wrong?
I think there's lack of knowledge on the part of the road users. Several road users are not sure of how best to use the roads, and that's ironic. They need to be understanding. So it comes from like an investment in the future of road users. You need to have that education, which I mentioned last week, in that we have to invest in the children so that people coming after would understand the importance of road safety. Road safety is a matter of making sure that the roads are safe for not only you, but other road users. And if that is done, it makes it better. The police alone can't do it. The individuals, they have to know how best to use the roads and use it correctly.
And we use the word training, but it doesn't require a formal classroom to get it all done. It's just trying to help your children and everyone really in the household understand some of the do's and the don'ts of the road use. And so where do we start again to teach our people about better road usage? Junior, where do you start on this one?
We start in the homes first and foremost, because the parents and guardians, they have a very serious responsibility to set the example. And then that's why I mentioned last week the Canada safety, the mobile safety city in Canada. That I will make another call. We want to establish one of those in Barbados, where children from as early as 2, 3, and 4 years old can go into this specialized setting and be trained how to use the roads clearly. Of course, the parents will be involved as well. But having said that, we want people to understand that penalties make a difference. For over 40 years, myself and Stations and Leon Blaze and other people have been mentioning these things. But we need to understand that prosecution with due process will make the difference. Because training will do it, but you need when people make mistakes and break the law, that they feel the full weight of the law. To the extent that I would say this morning, I said it before, pedestrians who get on and off PSVs at the wrong place, and I'm going to use a figure, should be charged for $500, just like when they introduced seatbelt legislation, $500 for getting on and off of PSV other than the locations that are designed for it. Of course, you will charge the drivers and so on, but we need to understand there must be a standard set and it must be adhered to, because in the overseas jurisdictions, you cannot stop a PSV other than the bus stop. You cannot do the law, break the laws and get away. I remember being in Montreal years ago, and you really can't change lanes in a tunnel. A guy changed lanes in a tunnel, and by the time he get to the end of the tunnel, there was a police there saying, "Come, a ticket for you." And we need to understand that people must feel it where it hurts most. And obviously, we will begin to pull it back from the brink, because for over 40 years, you can't keep talking and talking. Action must be taken. And I want to suggest as well, the traffic commissioners are in other locations are set up. We need special judges or traffic commissioners so that they can try these cases with due process quickly and get people to understand that they really need to follow the rules of the road. Other than that, they will feel the penalties.
Mr. Blades, you know, you will get away with it when you get away with it, and when you get away with it, you'll do it again. So
absolutely,
what do we do to ensure that there is no repetition of the particular infraction? I know Junior is just advocating for penalties, but if I'm not caught, I'm not caught. So I'll do it again. What do you say, Mr. Blades?
Is my firm view that those persons who get into accidents or who carry out maneuvers, reckless maneuvers on the roads, which causes an accident, what they should be able to do is they should be retrained before they get back onto the road. So initially, if you don't have the training, your retraining is will be a penalty. So that making sure that you have the education, because you cannot keep doing the same thing over and over again and get a different result. But if I may just juxtapose, to go back to your picture you showed on the television a moment ago, that aspect of the carrying that load, that's not a vehicle for that purpose. That's not a purpose-built vehicle. So you have to think of something called the Security of Load Law Act, so that you can make sure that the vehicle is tied down and is carried properly on the vehicle. And also there's no overhang. The law speaks specifically to that. But coming up at this time of the year when we are preparing to get into carrying loads for Christmas, this is another activity that has to be focused on, because you have your person's merchandise and you're taking it from a business place to the homes. That must be secured properly. So the security of law actually enforces give you certain regulation. So people have to follow the regulations clearly so that they can transport the merchandise from point A to point B safely. And I'm sure that the police at this time of the year, the police will normally remind drivers that these are infractions that need to be focused on. So I mean, there's a myriad of traffic violations that persons commit from day to day, and commit them with impunity.
Indeed.
But the police are not all along. But so that person will be able to patrol police themselves and know what the law requires. But it comes back to education. And the education in form of the Road Traffic Act, Road Traffic Regulation, or even the Highway Code. These are pieces of legislation that are available to the general public, and they must use them.
For me, when I saw that image, I thought, oh my goodness, one, your rear view mirror, you can't see out at all. That back pane is blocked up completely by that fridge strapped up there. The imbalance, you're going around a roundabout. So what if it tipped over? You know, all of those kinds of things bothered me by just the sight of this image. And that's why I thought this had to be a joke. This could not have been for real. As someone would have contemplated moving an item like that in that manner. And so
perhaps that's the owner of the car that is his fridge. So if it damages,
is that him?
Drop, go loose, he will lose it.
Is that him?
Yes,
Fair enough.
The thing though is that we must understand that based on what you said just now, Pearson, if we have cameras at strategic locations, the camera will take that image and have it processed with due process, and that person can be prosecuted. But we take too many chances, and once we are caught with due process, I think we must get to the stage of training, retraining, and then suspension, and then revocation, which means that you're debarred from driving any kind of vehicle in terms of your class. Because we have to be serious about this. After 40 years in training all around the Caribbean and elsewhere, we cannot still be talking the same things all the time. We must get serious, and people must feel it and understand that laws are there to be adhered to, and if they are broken, you must feel the full weight of the law, because we need to take the bad apples, so to speak, out of our system.
These gentlemen aren't playing, folks. These gentlemen are not playing. We got to leave it right there. Junior Jordan, consultant driver trainer, and Leon Blades, retired inspector, really, with the Royal Barbados Police Force and our big traffic cops today. Junior and Leon, thank you so much. Looking forward to next week, Monday, where we continue our journey through road safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Likewise. Morning Barbados will continue right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
14 minutes to 7 o'clock now. Don't forget, keep watching. That chance for you to spot the pink ribbon in support of breast screening. Listen, that chance is coming up, so don't miss it indeed. Let's turn our attention now to conversations on CARICOM. And having that conversation again with us this morning is Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM, His Excellency David Commichon. Ambassador Commichon, good morning to you. What a good time we have had over the last few days with the hosting of UNCTAD. It really made Barbados look good, and certainly, you know, with the comments made by the Kenyan president as well, Barbados did well. So what's your view, what's your review of UNCTAD 15 after this very busy week we've had? We'll try to get, we can't hear Ambassador at the moment, we'll try to get that sorted out, but we want to look at that UNCTAD, a review of UNCTAD. We also want to look at what we as CARICOM can do to assist Haiti through these ongoing crises. You would have seen in the news just ahead of us all of the harrowing stories of what's happening to the people of Haiti as they too themselves try to make life better and to seek greener pastures, and even in seeking greener pastures, they're treated badly. So we want to look at what CARICOM can do to assist Haiti, whether it's politically, economically, and any other way as well. And who are some of the players that they need to call upon to assist Haiti regain its rightful place, its footing, being one of those first democratic places in the world ever. There's also going to be, and there was a meeting on to discuss African Union and CARICOM collaboration. We want to hear a report on that as well with Ambassador Commichon as soon as we have that matter resolved, so we can hear from him those reports as well. But what a week we've had in UNCTAD. UNCTAD is now finished on the 7th. The Kenyan president would have departed this island just on the weekend, but he left with glowing remarks about our Prime Minister and about our ability as a small island. And certainly we've had a chance to discuss at many levels, as he brought along with him a number of officials from Kenya, a number of ways in which there is the opportunity for cooperation and benefits for both us and they. And certainly we'd want to hear a little bit more about how that now moves into action. Prime Minister talked a lot about debt, climate change, instability, you know, solidarity. And of course, she raised the whole question of Haiti. Cuba continues to be a part of the radar as well. So how did this UNCTAD, how did that meeting of those African states and those states from across the world, what are the benefits for Barbados coming out of that and the relationships forged as a consequence? You would have watched it right here on CBC TV8, and you would have seen that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, she was in Geneva for the hosting of that from that end, while we had our conference from this end, and it was done purely virtually, but we got to see it all, and we got a good inside look at the workings at that particular level of UNCTAD through the United Nations. So our conversations on CARICOM hopefully will shed a little bit more about that for us. What else is happening in CARICOM? What is happening in your neck of the wood as well? Well, there are lots happening still. Last week we'd have met with a Cuban ambassador. We would have had last Wednesday the commemoration of the 45th anniversary of the big horrific crash, what would have been our 9/11, so to speak, here in the Caribbean, of the Cubana airline just off the west coast of Barbados, and how we're still trying, Cuba is still trying to change its image, its perception. That the embargo that the United States has placed upon Cuba continues to hamper it. And we're hearing reports of a number of people waiting patiently on the vaccine that has been created out in Cuba. And it's moving through the stages, and hopefully very soon it'll become available globally so that people can benefit from the wisdom, the expertise of our Cuban brothers, doctors and nurses there, some of who are still here in Barbados working with our medical system as well. So there are lots of good things coming out of Cuba, and there are lots of great things happening in CARICOM as we move forward together. They're telling me to keep stretching. For 10 minutes. All right. So CARICOM continues to be in action. Remember, we would have in the past weeks talked a little bit about the CARICOM Skill Certificate through the Barbados Accreditation Council. It is so vital to be able to do so. You know, I haven't yet done so, and I wish I could do so very, very soon, but I hope you have. Those of you with skills, it's a process that is very painless, it's very quick, it's very fast. So go onto the website of the Barbados Accreditation Council and earn your skill certificate. That skill certificate allows you the ability to travel the region and to work in the region, as well as it is a legitimate piece of paper that the different agencies in those respective territories will recognize, and those opportunities will be afforded to you as a people moving across the region and finding employment, finding ways to create revenue, and then repatriate the revenue back to your home islands as well. So let's not be xenophobic at all. Let's welcome our CARICOM brothers and sisters into our spaces. They too seek to earn. But Haiti, the stories out of Haiti will make your hair curl. And you know, when you saw the image there in the newscast that came just a little while ago, and you saw how Haitians have gone to Chile and how the Chileans are treating them, and the lady who had the baby who went to seek assistance, left the baby with one of the officers there, and then was accused of having abandoned the baby, and then eventually she passed away. And to hear the story of her sister talking about what happened, it really curls your heart. And so we want to encourage you, wherever you are, to reach within your own capacity to assist those in Haiti. It could be financial, and if it is financial, you will make your donation through SEDIMA. If it is in kind, you will make your donation through SEDIMA, because they will help you, help it get back to Haiti as well, to the people of Haiti, as we try to restore, to lift them up. I know the Methodist Church here as well, as we would have had one of the Methodist ministers talk a little bit about that. She's a Haitian. She's serving here in the Barbados circuit in Barbados as a Methodist preacher, and she too has been asking. And so if you want to, you can go through the Methodist Church, ask for the Reverend Philanese Sano. She's with the Hawthorne Memorial Methodist Church, and she, as a Haitian, will be happy to assist where that's concerned as well. And you know, it is so important that we as a people rise up to help ourselves as a people. I want to take a break. If we can, we'll take a break and we'll come right back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, top of the hour. Let's take a look at the news once more. Here is Wendy Burke.
Good morning again. Waste management is being seen as a tremendous opportunity for Barbados to get in on coming out of UNCTAD 15. Sandra Husbands, the minister in the Ministry of Foreign Trade, says Barbados must look to establish and identify niche areas where we can excel. She was a guest on last night's CBC TV8 current affairs program, The People's Business. Ms. Husbands also stressed that Barbados must develop a trade policy that guards against getting bogged down with old assets from other countries, and one that also allows for the development of new solutions for manufacturing.
Within short order, you're going to find that whether it's the WTO or whichever international agency that has responsibility for environment, etc., that they may say that trade cannot take place if you are using old technology, or they may put a tax on you, like how Europe is considering to put a carbon tax. So if you use methods that are not environmentally friendly, your products all of a sudden will become uncompetitive in that market.
Okay.
So it is important, two things, that we don't get dumped with assets that cannot help us in the long term, and that very quickly we make that connection between our education system, our manufacturing and business systems, and get our young people know solving problems and innovating and bringing forth the new solutions that we can look at, whether we are able to produce it or whether we sell the intellectual property or whether we do joint ventures or whether we ourselves do a little FDI in Africa to be able to produce that particular product.
Okay.
These are the things that we have to look out for, and this is the direction that our trade policy will take us in.
On board with developing that type of trade policy is Barbados' ambassador to the United Nations and the World Trade Organization, His Excellency Chad Blackman. He says the time is now for our researchers and developers to find new ways of surviving in a world where global demands are shifting.
Getting our people to think, getting our institutions to hit the ground running now, within the next 3, 4, 5 months, year, possibly, having dedicated focus sessions on looking to see what are the global demands for sustainability in terms of goods, for example. Just one example. What competitive advantage do we have? What resources do we need? How do we get our young persons coming out of UE, Polytechnic, sixth form, being able to now reimagine and putting these things in place, getting our financiers together with them to get these things to market, not just for Barbados, but to export. So tangibles, that would be one that I would really like to see pushed through.
Barbados has recorded another 251 new positive COVID-19 cases. This is according to the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory after conducting 2,249 tests on October 9th. The new cases included 111 males and 140 females. The new positives consist of 69 people under the age of 18. There are now 579 people in isolation facilities and 1,947 in home isolation. Meanwhile, public health officials have administered 141,820 first doses of the COVID-19 vaccines. A total of 111,734 people have received second doses and are fully vaccinated. This number represents 41.2% of the total population, or 48.9% of the eligible population. The eligible population comprises those who are 12 years and older. A big payday awaits the winner of the ICC T20 World Cup on November 14th. If the defending champions, West Indies, win their third title, then they will walk away with a cool $1.6 million. Just reaching the final stages. participating teams. Well, that's a wrap on news, and it's now back to Pearson and Morning Barbados.
Wendy, thank you. 6 minutes after 7, a break, and when we come back, your chance to win with Crumbs Bakery.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Approaching 8 minutes after 7 o'clock, time for today's Crumbs question of the day. We're going to move through this fast, people. Come on, let's go. 228-5562 or 228-5563, because this is today's Crumbs question of the day. Where in Barbados can you find The Attempt? It's a place, it's a parish I need to know. Where in Barbados can you find The Attempt? I tell you, I don't know. I don't know. So you help me know. Where in Barbados can we find The Attempt? 228-5562 or 63. Good morning. Hello.
Yeah, morning. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Not bad.
Good, man. Where in Barbados can we find The Attempt?
I don't. That will have me beat Pearson.
Bad. Me too. But thanks. All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. Maybe tomorrow we'll find another question that's easier for you. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Remember, we're moving fast on this one. Where in Barbados can we find The Attempt? I know a number of you are stumped, but where in Barbados can we find The Attempt? Never heard of it before? No. But now I heard of it and I know the answer. I know exactly where it is. So this one has you all guys wrapped up, right? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Ain't got a clue. But maybe someone you know might. So ask them a quick question. Where in Barbados can you find The Attempt? Where in Barbados can you find The Attempt? Yeah, they're going on to the online fast. Come on, work it out. Where in Barbados, come on, can we find The Attempt? It's a place and it's in a parish of this island. So in which parish then can you find The Attempt? In which parish? And we only have 11, so come on, make a wild guess. In which parish can we find The Attempt? You know, when I first saw it, I thought, what do you mean by The Attempt? There's a play, there's a production, is that a movie? Good morning, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, what parish is The Attempt?
Is it Christchurch?
Wrong. Thanks for trying though. Nope. 228-5562 quickly. 228-5563. It's not Christchurch. In which parish is The Attempt? Is The Attempt? In which parish? So we got one down. Christchurch is out. So where? Morning, hello.
Hi, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hi, what's your answer?
Is it in St. Michael?
Don't ask questions. What's your answer?
St. Michael.
Wrong. Thanks for trying. 228-5562 or 228-5563. We'll just take one more because time is short. Good morning. Hello. 228-5562 or 63. Good morning. No one seems to be there. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, what parish is it in?
St. Thomas.
Sure?
Yes, please.
I know you're wrong. Sorry, but you're wrong. Nope, you don't have any correct answers for today, but thank you all for trying. You know that question is coming back. So you know you have homework to do. So the question is, where in Barbados can we find the attempt? That's the question. So stand by for that question again another time. 11 after the hour of 7 o'clock, let's get into our conversations on CARICOM. Ambassador Kamashaw, I'm so glad we could get this all resolved. Good morning to you.
Good morning again, Pearson.
All right, so much to talk about, my friend. You know, time is now going to be tight. So, review UNCTAD for me. What's in your opinion has been the benefit of UNCTAD?
Well, a good clue is the name of the political declaration. The spirit spikes down. Prime Minister Motley revealed that that was inspired by the example of King Puffy and the other slave revolutionaries in 1675. So what we are in fact seeing, Pearson, is a real revolution taking place right before our very eyes. We have spoken on this program over the months about many of the pressing issues facing CARICOM, from issues of the blacklisting, the crisis brought on by COVID, the massive debt that we now have to deal with the help of the international financial institutions, you know, the vaccine apartheid, the fact that middle-income countries like Barbados have been unfairly graduated just using this GDP per capita criteria. And we have talked about the need for us to address all of these things to get solutions to the climate crisis, the need for solutions, and that we're in such a serious life and death crisis brought on by COVID, climate, and all of these other conditions. And when we look at UNCTAD, what we have done, we Barbados, but also CARICOM, because very early on, Barbados invited CARICOM to be part of all of our preparations for UNCTAD. When we look at the Spirit of Spikestown political declaration and the Bridgetown Covenant, which is basically the action plan that came out of this UNCTAD, you will notice that all of the issues that are priorities for CARICOM and for Barbados have been captured in those documents.
Yes.
And that UNCTAD has now confirmed, committed itself over the next 4 years to work on these issues. And Barbados, our Prime Minister, will be the president of UNCTAD over the next 4 years. So what we are seeing unfolding, really, I call it a quiet revolution, but we have launched a revolution that says that this world order of inequality, of inequity, of big countries not paying any mind to the critical interests of small developing countries like Barbados, of developing countries like countries on the African continent, that we are determined to change this. And UNCTAD, being the UN organization, has responsibility for trade, development, investment issues. UNCTAD is a critical institution to shape the national agenda. UNCTAD isn't going to do the work itself, but UNCTAD is that organization that can help shape the policy in the World Trade Organization, in the WHO, in the IMF, in the World Bank. So yes, we have put ourselves in a very good position to help shape the world order, to bring it to a state of affairs where it is much more mindful of the critical interests of small countries like us.
I want to look at this meeting that was held to discuss the African Union CARICOM partnership and collaboration. I know it's a subject that is so rich and so much a part of what you are interested in, what the Prime Minister is also interested in advancing. What came of that meeting?
Well, that's the other part of the puzzle. So we are looking to the big global institutions for solutions. For example, we are saying you big countries who have committed the global warming, you have pledged $100 billion to fund adaptation measures. Well, we are saying that 50% of that 100 million must come to small island countries like Barbados, countries that are on the front line. So these are very critical maneuvers. But we are not just depending on that. We are also saying, look, there are things that we can do ourselves with our African partners. So we are in the process, Barbados and CARICOM, we are in the process of developing a new partnership with the African continent and the African Union. And so we use the opportunity of ministers and officials from African countries being in Barbados for UNCTAD. We use that opportunity to have some very important meetings to advance that process of the new CARICOM African Union partnership. So, for example, I was involved in a meeting at the University of the West Indies where we brought together Barbados, the CARICOM Secretariat, including the new Secretary General, and the University of the West Indies, so Hilary Beckles and his team, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Kenya and her team, and we were able to look at the recently held first Africa CARICOM Summit and all of the wonderful ideas that came out of that summit. And so we have started discussing these ideas, which ones could be the priority, how quickly can we move ahead to implement a number of these things. So very exciting. We also came together, Africa, CARICOM, Barbados, to discuss the problem of Haiti, the predicament of Haiti. And right now, we have St. Vincent on the Security Council, the UN Security Council, also Kenya. In fact, right now, Kenya is holding the president of the UN Security Council. So we came together to say, look, can we do something decisive on Haiti, something of real substance to solve this predicament that Haiti has been in for many, many years. So coming out of that meeting, there's going to be a special session of the UN Security Council on Haiti this Friday. A number of us will be addressing that session. I will be addressing that session in my capacity as a member of the CARICOM group of experts on Haiti, the CARICOM Secretary General, Dr. Barnett.
There's a lot of work.
It was really a revolutionary week, and I just need Barbadians to be aware, because the political leadership of Barbados is really taking some very decisive steps to change the world that we live in, and it's important that the people of Barbados be part of that process, that we have a conscious understanding of what we are trying to do, how revolutionary it is, and that we must be going forward, not just the Prime Minister or ministers or ambassadors, but the whole country.
Ambassador Camacho, I got to leave it right there. We're out of time. I'm so sorry that what happened earlier didn't allow us to have all the time I really wanted to give to you. But your face beams brightly this morning. Something tells me you're a very happy man this morning with all that's been happening. I look forward to Friday's activity as well, when you address the United Nations Security Council, and to be able to discuss that next week, should God spare life as well. Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Thank you, Pearson.
You're very welcome. And likewise, 20 after the hour now. Tomorrow will mark the launch of the International Day for Reparations. Joining us now to talk a little bit about that is the Reverend Buddy Laria, who is the chairman of the Barbados chapter of the African Diaspora Development Institute. Good morning to you, Reverend Laria.
Hello, good morning, Pearson.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
You're very welcome. Just let's put into context what's happening, because October the 12th, 1492, Christopher Columbus set foot on what was then called the New World, which is us, and so colonization started. And ever since then, they have affected us through politics, by demographic, by economic, by cultural. They've stripped us of who we are and the success of who we could possibly be. And so October the 12th, ever since then, has been noted to be one of those significant days. But tomorrow, the official launching of the International Day for Reparations, why is that such an important date and such an important milestone in your opinion?
Well, it is because in 1989, I found out that there was a depopulation program in place. While living in England, I was one of the top experts on racism awareness and black consciousness raising. During my discussion with some international community leaders, they proposed a depopulation program of some 2 billion black people, in particular black people. And I counter that by, in 1990, I wrote a letter, open letter to world leaders, challenging the idea of the depopulation program. And I proposed that October the 12th be the International Day for Hope, for Truth, Justice, Peace, Healing, and Reconciliation. So tomorrow, October the 12th, which has recently been endorsed as the International Day for Reparation, and CARICOM has also proclaimed the 12th of October as CARICOM Holocaust Day. So around the world now, where the World Social Forum had proclaimed October the 12th in 2013 as International Day for Reparation. What is really required is now for Barbados, because the eyes of the world are on Barbados, as Ambassador Commission just mentioned. The eyes of the world are on Barbados. And this is the reason why the eyes of the world are on Barbados. Barbados is the first country that passed a law that said that black people were not full human beings, that we were chattel. We all know that black people have been living in chattel houses from the time of our inception in 1627. So we must understand that whatever is happening in the world today, as far as black people are concerned, Barbados is at the center of that. So tomorrow's launch on the 12th of October will put that into context, because we are going to be looking at a number of things which would look at why Barbados is the 12th of October, why Barbados should, number one, table a resolution to the United Nations that October the 12th be designated as the International Day, for reparation, because until it is designated by the United Nations, it does not have universal recognition. So that has to be put right. And Barbados, this proposal was before Barbados' 1995. 5 prime ministers of Barbados has been asked to do that.
Right. So we're moving forward, and the whole point is we're moving forward. But you're saying to me it's the International Day for Reparations. There's already a discussion about reparations that's been ongoing for quite some time. and looking not just at monetary return, but investment in development of structure through education. Is that also going to be a part of the efforts of your organization, the Barbados Chapter for African Diaspora Development?
Obviously, and one of the things that we want to, and you can hear from the government what is happening in Bridgetown. We would like, and this is going to be mentioned tomorrow, we would like for the city of Bridgetown to be officially proclaimed by the government of Barbados as a city of peace. Bridgetown, the capital city of Barbados, as a city of peace, which would promote the Caribbean as a region of peace, one city at a time.
Mm-hmm. All right, so so apart from that need call for the declaration, what else is happening tomorrow? Just keep it really brief for us because we're up against time. So what else is going to be happening tomorrow on this very significant day?
Yes, we're going to be launching the African Diaspora Development Institute. This is an organization that was established in 2019 by the former ambassador to the United Nations, Dr. Africano. And Barbados will be launching a chapter here we will be launching a chapter here in Barbados tomorrow.
Right.
I will be also launching my book, which is called A Man of Vision with a Message of Hope.
Okay.
A Man of Vision
with a message of hope. Okay.
That will also be launched.
All right. So there's a lot to still keep track of. I'm sure we're going to read a whole lot more about it as well. So Reverend Buddy Larry, we want to thank you so much for joining us, and much success tomorrow as we mark the International Day for Reparations and the work of your organization, the Barbados Chapter of the African Diaspora Development Institute. Thank you for joining us this morning. All right, it's 28 minutes now after 7 o'clock as we turn our attention to a brand new show starting tomorrow night. See, a lot of things are happening on the 12th of October. How lucky you are to be born on that day. This new show is going to be looking at pop culture in Barbados. Take a look at this.
I'm Josue, the Rubik's Cube in the Cuban Missile Crisis.
My name is Kofi Jones, aka The Doctor.
This
is Zeitgeist.
Here is a look at some of the international films that were shot right here.
First, Bashman Soca song is either the done by Laureate or work by Laureate.
It's surprising to me how little the people who are meant to help artists know about the industry.
So it premieres tomorrow evening right here on CBC TV at Beijing TV. Joining us to talk a little bit about this upcoming show is Josue Nelson, who is one of the co-hosts, and Kofi Jones. Good morning, both of you gentlemen.
Morning.
All right, now to those who are not really good at language, pronounce the name of the show for us.
Zeitgeist.
The show is called, Zeitgeist.
I thought so too. Zeitgeist. I don't want to tie my tongue on all of this. So Zeitgeist is going to be a showcase and a look into pop culture. And for someone who lives here, we know that oftentimes, and given the last couple of years, little has been going on in terms of entertainment. So where are you finding your content?
Well, people might think not a lot is coming out, but actually a decent amount of content is still coming out in the Barbados. Because the NCF for that, they had a COVID grant where they give X amount of money to various entertainers for the different online content. And we actually delved a bit into the past. So there's a lot of songs and movies and features we did based on things that were done in the past. So that's more heritage of Barbados.
And so you're seeking to do so. And the ultimate Hosu is to do what? What do you want us, who when we watch it, to be able to learn and to gain from this new series?
Well, from this, what we're trying to do is highlight all the different things that are out there, because there are a lot of creatives that are out there. There are a lot of producers making things that people just don't know where to find. So this is an avenue for them to come out, show what they do, show their stuff, and then also for the people to know that there are these talented individuals who are out there doing all these different things. There's people who make comics, who create awesome shirts. Shout out to Odd Boy makeup effects artists, like a variety of talents that are going to be on this show. So it's for all of you to know they're here, and this is how we can find them.
Because my concern at first was, whose dogs are these? Put your hand in the air if it's yours, Kofi.
Apologies. Yeah.
Active indeed at this time of the morning, man, but that's all right.
Apparently.
You know, the whole idea of keeping it fresh, keeping it interesting, keeping people on the edge of their seat to watch the next episode. How has that been in producing the series so far for you?
So far, I think to get the viewers involved is to have interesting content. So it's just not the same old. Like for example, in one of the episodes, I did dive into bashment soca and try to define what that really means, which is kind of controversial because bashment soca is not exactly loved by all. And it's interesting to try to articulate something that is, it's like defining love. Very hard to explain, but it's something that exists and something that we have.
Yeah. And likewise,
go ahead, Joshua.
As in likewise for me, because Josue. But likewise for me, part of what I in the producing is just doing reviewing all these Bajan movies and all the different kinds of cinema that has come out here. We have like horror films, we have comedies, romance films, crime stories. And going into all these different stories and delving into the film industry and what the film industry offers. So those are things that, as I've learned as well, I think is great to put out there so that other people can also get a better view at what the film industry here offers.
Is offering. Now, underneath all of this zeitgeist is the spirit of pop culture. That makes it almost generational. There's a certain generation that will not be interested in pop culture, and then there are generations that will be. So who are your target audiences?
I think they're the target audience as well.
Right. The thing about pop culture is by the phrase alone, popular culture, is not to say it is a niche thing. It's whatever is popular and that's going on in Barbados. So it's not, I wouldn't say that we have a limited target audience. It is whoever's into movies, whoever's into music, whoever's into culture could enjoy the show. So
Josue, you were going to say what?
Yeah, I was going to say, when you look at culture, it's, culture changes a lot. Each generation has their own thing and they bring a new spice to it. But even the new culture, it still draws from the old. So for the people who may feel, this is a young people thing, this is not for us, there's still going to be a lot of things that you can always tie back. This is about from my old days. This is from when I was out pitching marbles, like little factors of Bajan culture that still are drawn from in what we have created in this new generation.
Now we see your name, Josue Ramirez Nelson. You're Cuban, and you came here when you were 8 years old, and somehow you sounded more Bajan than me. It's so funny how you've adapted and adopted our culture. How are you able to get it so that we all as Barbadians get it about our culture?
Well, the thing is, I am Cuban, but I'm not as foreign as you would believe. My grandparents, who are Barbadians, and they moved to Cuba to work there in the sugar factories. So in the city that I lived in, the town that I lived in, there were a lot of different West Indians. So I got a different taste of what the West Indian culture was like. So coming here, there were still so many things that were familiar that made the transition so much more natural. And then of course, growing up here, everything about Barbados, it just sucks you in. So it's hard not to be.
Everything about Barbados just sucks you in. I love that. That's all part of what you're going to be showcasing on Zeitgeist, looking at the spirit of the pop culture in Barbados as well. Production values, and who else is on the team, Kofi? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, on the team, we have our director, Cota Ford. On sound, we have Romario Hunt. Behind the camera was Amleah Clark. And it was not the biggest team, but we worked with a lot of talented individuals to help put this together. Cota also edited it.
Cota did a lot.
Yeah, Cota really put in the work.
Okay, well, a lot of people have put in the work. So, episode 1 is tomorrow, premiere tomorrow, right here in the evening on TV8. Who and what can we expect in episode 1? Tease us about episode 1.
Well, episode 1, I'll be reviewing a movie called The Land We Call Home. So this will be a found footage horror film directed by Stockton Miller. And it's one of the first found footage films that we had in the island, but it's also a horror movie. And it's really amazing. Very similar to what the Blair Witch Project would be like for people. So we have that as well. We have, well, Kofi can tell you more about what he'll be doing on his side.
Kofi?
Yeah, I had a chance to do a biography for a little band. That's a little Bajan band. You might have heard of them. They're called Crossfire. Yeah, just a biography on them and all of the accomplishments they've made over the years.
Yes. And
I believe Josue is doing an interview with a special effects makeup artist.
Okay.
Yeah, fantastic. That is Tennille, and she does special effects and amazing horror themed special effects.
Wow.
If you go on her IG now, like you can see, can't remember off my head, but on her IG now for October, she's doing a number of different characters for Halloween. So every day you see her do a different kind of makeup, different horror effects, and it's just like Hollywood stuff.
Yes.
Extremely talented young lady.
So we're going to see literally the best of Barbados in this new series, Zeitgeist. You know, we've all seen over time, look at the two gentlemen, they're all ready to go tomorrow. We've all seen Access Hollywood, we've seen Entertainment Tonight, we've seen all of these other shows on the American networks. And you know, as Barbadians, we like to compare. So we want to make sure that ours is equally riveting and exciting and fast-paced and moving and interesting. So I know you guarantee that. See there? See? That's the guarantee. That is even better. It's even better. Josue and Kofi, want to thank you both, gentlemen. All the best with this new project. Is it a weekly show? Is it every Tuesday evenings? All right. And
at 8:30 p.m.
Great. And how many are in the series thus far?
13 episodes.
We're going to have 13 episodes.
Okay.
Unlucky number, but a lucky number.
But it's going to be good. It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good show.
Yeah.
There you are, the two young men who are going to be the faces of Zeitgeist, starting tomorrow evening at 8:30 right here on TV, and looking at the spirit of pop culture in Barbados. Crossfire is going to be featured, a makeup artist is going to be featured, and a film is going to be reviewed, and heaven knows what else is going to come tomorrow in the first episode. Folks, don't miss it right here on TV. Thank you, gentlemen. All the best with the project going. Take a break here. We're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
I'm Josue, the Rubik's Cube in the Cuban Missile Crisis.
My name is Kofi Jones, aka The Doctor.
This
is Zeitgeist.
Here is a look at some of the international films that were shot right here.
First, Bashman Soca song is either Gedon by Lyric or Work by Lyric.
It's surprising to me how little the people who are meant to help artists know about the industry.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So we're 20 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock. Today is October the 11th, which marks today the 7th anniversary of the International Day of the Girl Child. Joining us to talk a little bit more about that and their organization is Aliane Olivier-Skeet, who is the founder and executive director of I Am a Girl Barbados. With her is Kezia Taylor, who is the program mentee and an intern there as well. Good morning, both ladies. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Pearson.
So, start with you, Aliane. Why does I Am a Girl Barbados exist, and what's your purpose?
I Am a Girl Barbados exists because girls are in crisis, essentially. We live in a society which is predominantly Black, and very often you would find that girls fall into that bracket of poverty, fall into that bracket of having numerous mental health challenges, have struggles in terms of being resourced generally because they're a girl, forced into roles at very young ages, more so than boys would be, and kind of stigmatized just for their gender and put in a box. And we exist because girls need that safe space, girls need that support, girls need that resourcing that is required to ensure that they thrive. Girls need the ability to create community amongst themselves, but also ensure that they aren't stagnated based on how society views them, based on the lack of support that is provided to them. And it also ensures that they themselves can kind of feed off of each other.
Now, Kezia, Aliane is the leader, she's the founder. You've decided to join. So what is it about this organization that inspired you to be a part of it?
Everything, like from the get-go, you feel the vibes, you feel the energy, you feel the happiness from the girls. Like when I went in for the first time, I joined club, all the girls were always supportive. I was even shy to say answers. Everyone just nudged me and said, you can do it. Yes, you can. It's the sisterhood and the bond that really brought it home for me.
So you're suggesting to me, therefore, that it didn't exist for you before, but somehow this organization was able to help you find your footing and help you to find a space where you're very comfortable. Would that be true?
Yes, very true. I Am a Girl is a safe space for not only me, but for every girl that joins, where you can voice your opinions, where you can be happy, and where girls are just together. And there is also strength in unity. And for me, when all the girls are together, we just bounce off each other. We have this great energy. And this also helps us to just be comfortable and confident with one another.
So, Aliane, what do you guys do at I'm a Girl Barbados that allows people like Kezia to feel as empowered as she does?
Well, I think it's more creating a family and a vibe and a culture that girls don't feel judged, that they know that they can come and share anything, and we would just support their needs, whatever those needs may be, because each girl has individual needs. But more than that, we do programming, yes, and programming might include things like coming together in retreat style or meeting on a weekly basis or whatever it may be. But a big part of the core of the organization is two real elements: building girl leadership, because we believe deep down inside every girl, regardless of any form of adversity, they can be a leader, and a positive one, and a great one at that. And then on top of that, we also promote, through our philosophy, reach one, teach one. So for us, for every one girl we reach, they're meant to teach another. And for us, that is a ripple effect. Whether girls come into our program or not, they are impacted and influenced by the girls who are in programming. And for us, that is major. And we know that that is inside every single girl. And very often than not, girls are misunderstood and misrepresented based on their personality, based on their style of speech, based on just how they want to exist in the world. And for us, I Am a Girl is that place where they can be just that without any judgment.
Do you have any age limitations about who can be a part of I Am a Girl Barbados?
Well, our youngest girl comes into the program at the age of 5. For the most part, our mentees go up to the age of between 18 to 21. For us, why we start at the age of 5 is because it's preventative, in the sense that we see an opportunity for girls at a very young age to get the development, growth, and support that they need. especially the peer mentorship element of the program. A big part for us is also having that holistic approach. So ensuring that we include adults, so their parents, their guardians, those who are in their community that support them. Because for us, it's important that when girls come to our program, they go back into the environment that allows them to thrive as well.
Right.
And starting at the age of 5 starts to build a foundation of principles and the right way or mindset of thinking about different scenarios that they themselves can make healthy, positive decisions, in addition to understanding just society as a whole, them in their girlhood, them in their blackness, them in their way of movement, and understanding how they think, how they speak, what that looks like is super important to start and nourish from a very young age.
You're talking to girls about girls by girls, but you know, you exist in a society, it's not just a girl society, it's a multicultural, multi-sex society. And so is part of that teaching about how you relate to men and the men in the society as well, and how do you safeguard yourself and recognize unsavory approaches?
Of course. So our primary core teachings are to girls, and we always make sure that we include elements where positive role models and or positive boys can come in and have very controlled and nurturing conversations between both. So we also have secondary programs that are for boys as well, because we believe in building men that can be not only allies, but also can support and nurture the growth of girls in general. Because the reality is, look, girls are going to become mothers, boys are going to become fathers, they are going to go into the work environment, they're going to become professionals, they are going to be living beyond the Barbados scope as they grow into their adulthood. And for us, it's important, yes, to nurture girls in the perspective of helping to build up their capacity, but they're the most under-resourced. They're the most vulnerable amongst boys and girls. We believe that strongly. So as a result, we make sure that we cater for girls for the most part, but we also ensure that girls have opportunity to have that cross-link with boys, and boys understand the issues girls are facing, because sometimes it's things that they might do or say or not do that could be impacting girls as well.
Sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like a lot of very important work as well. So let's look forward, if you can, for just a little bit. What are some of the plans that you have for the organization in the short term that you can really see making a tremendous difference to our girl population?
Well, because today represents, the theme for today, International Day of the Girl Child, is Digital Generation, Our Generation. We have quite a number of plans over the next year to 2 years, one of which is ensuring that girls are not only resourced and equipped with digital technology, but also ensuring that they understand things like cybersecurity and how it impacts how they communicate and connect online. A big part of our vision forward as well in the short term is to help build the capacity of their financial awareness. So things like investment, taxes, how do you not only save, but contribute to something long-term for your future.
Right.
These are things that are not taught in schools, and these are also things that are very taboo amongst the Black community. And for us, we think it's important to amplify their knowledge, amplify their skill set in these key areas, because they are not only the future, but the present. And these are things that are happening right now. And for them to eradicate or overcome things like poverty and the issues that they face, they need to understand these basic elements to progress. And more long term, we are working on more stringent emergency intervention for those who run away, for those who are displaced, for those who find themselves in circumstances where they do not feel supported and they're on the streets, in some cases couch surfing or homeless. And we want to create a home away from home environment, more than just programming, but on a more emergency-based system.
All right, so for anyone who's watching right now who wants to contribute and who wants to know that their girl child can be a part of the program, we can go onto your website. I am a girl, spell it all out, folks. I-am-a GIRL.NGO. That's the website to which you can go to learn more, to see how you can contribute and how you can be a part of the program as well. So iamagirl.ngo is the website, or you can send an email to where, WEARE, at iamagirl.ngo. And you can see them all on their social media as well. They're very present, and they want you to be a part of it as well. So this today marks the International Day of the Girl Child, and certainly one way for you to see the difference in your girl child is to be a part of this campaign as well. Thank you so much, Alianne Oliviers Keat and Kezia Taylor, who is one of the mentees. Thank you so much, and best of luck going forward. Thank you. Morning Barbados will continue right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
That's right, we're going to turn the pages of this book, looking into the next chapter, a book called Beholding Sunrise. Morning always comes, even after the darkest night. That's the title, and it's a book written by Kimberly MacDonald. Kimberly, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Congratulations on the launch of your book.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure for you it was a labor of love, but also a labor that comes from a place of pain and a medical condition. Do you mind sharing just a little bit about what inspired you?
Sure. I was diagnosed with a condition called sphenoorbital meningioma, and it's really a tumor, benign tumor that was found at the back of the bone, behind the bone at the back of my right eye. And that meant that I had to have major cranial surgery, and that came with a number of after effects that I did not expect. And as I shared a bit of my experience with friends and so on, they said, I hope you're journaling because persons need to hear this. Mm-hmm. And I started doing that, and that is how the book came about. And I really wanted to share how instrumental God was as it relates to my healing and even the peace I experienced as I went through that process.
Before that experience, did you have a relationship with God, or this relationship with God only begin as a result of the experience?
I had a relationship with Him before, but there's one thing in having an experience with Him, and you're speaking about the word and you're speaking these memory verses and so on, and then it becomes real to you.
Yes.
And I think that is what really caught me off guard, in that I thought I knew. Mm-hmm, I actually thought I knew. And then in the midst of the situation, I recognized that if not for that, I would have lost it. I would not be able to function. And because of the peace that He gave during the experience, I was able to function as if nothing had happened. Yes, and that was what was amazing.
There's a lot of comfort that one finds in that relationship with God. I can tell you that for a fact. And He shows up every single time. every single time he shows up, because that's his promise, that he will never leave you, neither will he forsake you. He says, draw close to me and I'll draw close to you as well. And so in your journey, medical journey, you drew closer to him, so you understood that his promises are true. And so you've documented it in this book. And so the process, because you're still dealing with your medical condition, so how is it in terms of journaling and then move into publication?
It was challenging in that I started journaling, and as I started to do that, it started to bring up certain things that I didn't even know were there. You're dealing with a medical condition, but you don't recognize how much it impacts on you mentally, obviously physically, and the various things that surrounded that. So I started and I stopped, and I started and I stopped. And then I just felt, especially within a COVID environment where persons needed hope, that as many voices that can add to that experience of hope and saying, it's possible to get over this problem, it is possible to get through this difficult situation, it is possible with God's help to overcome.
Yes.
And that really propelled me to complete the book.
And that's so inspiring, and that's the whole point. The book allows all of us to be able to be inspired, not just read it as a storyteller and say, hey, that's what happened to Kimberly for true. No, but to say, that's what's happening to me, and here is how I could use Kimberly's journey to be able to help me through my journey as well. I'm sure that's part of your aim.
That is exactly, you hit that completely on the head, because I think oftentimes we think this is my personal experience. I think one of the major things that I struggled with was how can I put something so personal into such a public context? And persons would have their own opinions on it and so on. But at the end of it, I felt it is important to give voice to your experience because it helps other people. You don't know, sometimes just by stopping and saying, good morning, how are you? How that impacts somebody, and waiting to hear the answer. I'm firm on that. Don't just, ask and move on your way. But if you can share what has impacted you, how you've grown, how you are facing the next chapters of your life because of certain experiences, then persons could always find something in there to say, yes, I can identify with that. And if she can do it, then I'm capable of doing it. And I think that is driving force behind the book. And on top of that is the importance that God played from the very beginning to the very, even until now, because it's still, it's still ongoing.
Yes, and that is so moving. So the book is available locally. We can contact you to get a copy of the book, but it's also available on Amazon, right?
That's correct.
Now, this is the book, folks. This is what it's called. Beholding sunrise, morning always comes, even after the darkest night. Now, that's a fact. And because it's a fact, you can get to know more about it and live the reality that Kimberly McDonald has experienced. Through her experience, you can also see the benefit in getting closer, being faithful to God, and how God can really bring that your sunrise. And you can see it all fresh and bright and beautiful all over again. It doesn't end. He will be with you through it all, and He will be with you even after it. And that's the whole point. And I really want people to get a copy of the book. Go to Amazon.com and you can order it there, or you can call you. How can we reach you?
You can contact me at 230-4498 for a copy.
Okay, 230-4498. 230-4498. Her name is Kimberly McDonald. The book is called Beholding Sunrise, Morning Does and Always Will Come, Even After the Darkest Night. Note the cover, order it on Amazon, or call Kimberly on 230-4498. Kimberly McDonald, thank you for joining us, and thank you for being open enough to share your story with us as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're most welcome.
You are very welcome indeed. That's it for today. I hope you spotted that pink ribbon here. I hope you noted today's location, today's landmark. And if you didn't, don't worry, we'll remind you. There it is. There it is. Quick. Take a look. Where is this? Note it down for today, Monday, the 11th of October. Hold that piece of paper because we have another one for you tomorrow and right through till Friday. Keep watching because you have a chance to win with us in the Barbados Breast Screening Program. That's it for today. Thank you so much. A big thanks on behalf of my producer, Nadia Foster, our technical director, Roel Ford, and our sound engineer, Christopher Blenman and Pearson Boyne. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.